Howdy everyone, this is Tricia and welcome to my channel. Well, as you saw, I did some shopping. I decided to do a new series for you on floral wall decor. So I went over to one of my favorite stores and I did some Christmas shopping this past season there. So this time I decided to look and see what they had for spring and maybe even for summer. So I did some, a little bit of picking up of a few items because I need either some wall things that are already hanging or containers that hang on the wall for this particular series. So let's go ahead and get started on that. Alright, so this is my second video in my floral wall decor, and today I'm going to be making a garden hose wreath. So let me go ahead and tell you what those supplies are going to be and we can get to crafting. Alright, we're going to start off with a regular garden hose. I got mine from Walmart. It only cost me, I think it was $6. This is a 25-foot garden hose. I would have liked to have gotten something shorter, but I really wanted something that had this garden green color. As you can see here, it's kind of a big hose, but I'm going to go ahead and use this to create my wreath. Now, there was a 6-foot and there was a 10-foot, but I felt like the 6-foot was a little too small. It's perfect to make a small little wreath. So if you want to grab a 6-foot one, that one costs about $6, the same price as a 25-foot one. And did find a 10-foot one, but I didn't feel it was quite the color that I wanted, and it was $12 actually. So I went ahead and I went for this little inexpensive type of hose. This is what I want. Just something inexpensive because I'm going to be gluing it in some spots, wrapping it up and putting some florals on it. So just make sure you get yourself a cheap old garden hose, or if you happen to have one at home that's kind of cracking, maybe has some leaks, and you know you haven't tossed it away, just give it a good little cleanup and maybe you can go ahead and use that. Okay, so this is the hose that I'm going to use, and I'm going to be using some flowers, and I have a collection of flowers here, some that I got from Hobby Lobby, little bush that I still have some flowers on it, and I've used them from there. I've got some little bushes from the Dollar Tree, and then I've got this pretty little yellow tulips that I got at a store called At Home. So I'm going to use a combination of these flowers. I don't necessarily use everything because I do like to sometimes just spread it out and use it in other projects. So don't be discouraged looking at this and saying, oh my God, that's a lot of flowers. I don't know if I can go and purchase all of that. Just purchase what you can, just enough to do your little arrangement. It's going to be something small on our wreath, so no big deal. I've got some greenery, and the same thing. I'm going to use some of this greenery. I do have some greenery that I've used in the past in other arrangements, and I have some left over, so I may go ahead and dig into that, but I'm just showing you an example. Some greenery bushes here that you can use for this particular project. I happen to have a little bird here. He's really cute. He's on a little clip, so he just clips on. So we can just clip him onto the wreath if we want. And I've got some ribbon because I'm going to make a bow. Now, of course, this has red in it. I don't have any red flowers, but I'm just going to combine everything because I feel like this is going to be like an assorted kind of a flowers that you pick from your garden. You know, you went outside, you know, you happen to grab some, and you have whatever ribbon and you're just going to tie them with. So this is going to be a very kind of eclectic looking wreath. And I'm going to need some styrofoam. So here's some styrofoam here. Any piece of styrofoam that you have that you can use to put on your wreath is perfect. This happens to be half of a block that I used, and I used that last Tuesday on my wall decor, the Easter wood sign that I made, and I cut it in half, so it was a block that was twice the size, and it came in a package of 6, and I got that from Hobby Lobby, but you can get styrofoam, Michael's, you can get it at Walmart or any other craft store, okay? And I'm going to be using some moss. So here I've got some Excelsior moss, Spanish moss, whatever you want to use. If you want to use that green sheet moss, you can use that. You're going to need some floral pins to attach your moss to the styrofoam. So this is what a greenery pin looks like right there. You're going to need some of those. Actually, they're called floral pins. I keep saying greenery pins lately. I guess because I'm using it on some green stuff. Okay, we're also going to be using our hot glue gun, so we'll need some glue sticks for that. I am going to incorporate using some E6000 on my hose just to make sure that it stays together in the shape that I molded to. And I'm going to be needing some floral wire, any kind of floral wire that you may have. 22 gauge is probably the best in case you're wondering what size or, you know, thickness of wire. You'll need wire cutters and some scissors, okay? Okay, these are not my scissors for this. Those are my sewing scissors, sorry. You're gonna need some craft scissors, so just use any craft scissors. And if you happen to buy brand new blocks of styrofoam and you need to cut them, you need a craft knife. I got this from, this is not necessarily a craft knife, it's just a regular kitchen knife. I got it from the Dollar Tree, so just grab yourself one from there. Really nice and cheap. Okay, let's get to crafting. Okay, I've gone ahead and started by cutting off some pieces of wire and having them ready on the side here. These are about, you know, 8, 10, 12-inch pieces. I've got a couple of extra longer ones here, maybe 18, 20-inch long. And I'm going to go ahead and start forming my wreath out of my hose. So I'm just going to open this up a little bit, and I am going to pull this one out because I want this to kind of hang off my wreath at the bottom, like so. And I got this idea from a store called At Home. And if you pay attention to the little video montage at the beginning in the introduction here, you'll see that there is a hose, you know, decorated, hanging off one of the aisles that I was quickly going through. And I just kind of videotaped, so it's kind of like a little bit shaky, kind of dizzifying, if you will. I'm just going to open this up a little bit, because I want to see what size I want it. And the way that hose was wrapped, it was kind of loosely. It wasn't really like, you know, very tight or anything. So I'm going to go ahead and just, I think this is a good size. I'm happy with this, doing a lot of maneuvering around, but I'm happy with it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and attach these to another piece here just to make sure that this doesn't move anymore on me. I wish this was kind of bent and facing downward. Can't seem to get it to, let's see, can I maneuver it? No, because then it's going to be facing the other way. Okay, I'm just going to do that. Let's see. I'm going to tie these two bits, the two ends, to another one here. And that's why I cut up all these little pieces of wire, because I wasn't sure how much I was going to need. I am going to drip some glue in there also to get it all just stay together, if you will. If you don't want to use any glue, you can probably do this with just a bunch of wire. I don't want to put any wire up on the top because I don't want that to show, because I'm not going to put anything here. This is going to be the top of my wreath. But I want them to stay together, so I'm going to have to put some wire to hold it. So I'm going to go ahead and put some on the sides right here, and I plan on hiding that with the florals that are going to be coming out of it. So just get some wire, wrap it around nice and tight, twist it. This is the other long piece here. Do the same on the other side. And this is not going to go back around to the front, so I'm just going to twist it behind. And just make sure you poke those little, you know, wire edges into your wreath, or wire it against your wire into the what you've wrapped around, you know, the little ends, so that you don't poke yourself with them. So this is kind of what I want, this look, okay? I don't want it to move around on me, so I am going to pour some glue in there. I'm going to pour some E6000 in there also as well, but I'm going to see how well this holds with a glue gun first. You never know, I may want to undo this and actually use this hose someday. My husband may say, oh no, our hoses are all messed up, and he'll see my wreath and he'll go, I'm going to use that. You never know. You know how these guys are. They'll just take all your stuff. Don't touch their stuff. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm going to use a little bit of E6000 to also get some of these pieces to stick together and hopefully not move around. Okay, I can't put too much because then it shows and I don't want that. So I think I'm going to wipe some of it off. Got a little napkin here. Wipe some of that off. I don't want it showing. There we go. And then I can just go with, some people said acetone. Some people are giving advice that you can just use some, okay, that was to remove stickers off of things. You can use olive oil or cooking oil to do that. I like to use this product called Glue Gone to remove any excess glue. I'm not going to worry about the sides over here where I put the wire because I'm going to cover that up with some flowers. But this top part, I don't want it to show, so I'm going to just clean it up. Probably best to clean it up after it's dry. Oops, wrong. I was going to put the cover from the E6000 on it. Okay, I just wanted a few little drops here and there. And let's put some of this hot glue in there. Let me put my little silicone pad underneath, catch any drippings. All right, so what I've gone ahead and done is I've turned it, this is the back of what would be my wreath. I've turned it around and I've actually added glue onto the sections that that were touching each other, where I wanted them to, you know, stay still and not move around on me. That's what I've done with a hot glue gun. And just right here between the crevices, instead of doing it from the front, because from the front the glue was showing too much and it was looking kind of messy, and you know, I was causing a mess. And the more I tried to wipe it off while it was still wet, it looked really bad. So I'm gonna have to do some cleaning up in the little front part there. So what I'm gonna tell you is to glue it from behind this part, especially the parts that are going to show. So that's all I've done. And you can see the glue in there, it looks kind of messy. But if I turn it around, you won't see it in the front, except for the little mess that I have from before. But like I said, I'm going to clean that up and I won't worry about it right now. Okay, so we want these two parts to kind of dangle off. And of course they won't, because they're being very stubborn. And the more I move them around, this wire comes off. So I'm going to just try and do my best here. Oh, this got glued on. I forgot that I glued that on. So I'm just going to wire this again in its place. Let's get that wire. Come on, honey. Okay. I had to take a little break in between things and it kind of threw me off. Forgive me. Okay, there we go. Get that wire, roll it down, those little edge ends, roll them down. Okay. And I'm just gonna bend this as much as I can to try and train it to go down, but it doesn't really matter. I'm gonna try not to hide this at all. The two ends, these parts here, I'm gonna try not to hide them with the flowers. Okay, so I need some styrofoam to put flowers on there. So I'm not just gonna hot glue that on there. I'm gonna go ahead and wire it. So that's why I have these long pieces of wire. I'm going to kind of push it in a little bit, slide it between the bits of hoses so that I'm just grabbing some and the wire can wrap around. And of course you will put some glue on there as well, because I mean this could come right off the hose. So just reach in there and get some glue. I didn't put the glue first because I don't want to burn my fingers. So just go in there and get some glue in there as much as you can. I'm just going to hold it like that a little bit so the glue drips down between the styrofoam and the hose and not away from it. So that's what I'm going to do. Just get some styrofoam and then attach it just like that. Okay, if you feel like you want more security, go ahead and I'm going to put a little bit of glue here. Get the wire, get it through, and then just put it through a thin piece of hose here because this wire's not very big. Okay. And then just twist it down behind styrofoam. I think I'm twisting it. It feels like I am, but it doesn't, I don't think I am. Let's turn this around so I can look at it. Wow, I gotta pull this end a little more. And I'm already sweating. Oh my goodness. I just want to hook this little bit of wire, and I just can't get my little chubby fingers in there. There we go. Finally, I got it. And I'm gonna put some glue on there just to get that little area where I glued, where I wired the glue together to stick. Okay, so I'm gonna let this dry a little bit, and I'm gonna probably put another piece of wire on that styrofoam, and I'll be back so we can go ahead and start decorating this. All right, I've got my styrofoam on there, and I'm happy with it. It is pretty secure on there. So now I'm gonna go ahead and cover it with some moss, and I'm using this Excelsior moss, or Spanish moss. This one has a little bit of a green coloring to it. I don't know if you can notice that. You can use the brown or the green or whatever color you want to use. And what you'll do is just spread it out a little bit. You don't want to put big chunky clusters in there. Just enough to cover your styrofoam, but you want to separate it a little bit because you want the stems to be able to go through there. I did mention that in the other videos. And now I'm going to put some down underneath. Let's get some of these. A little bit more right here. Cover that up. Okay. It doesn't have to be too covered because we are putting quite a bit of flowers on there. At least I am. And I don't really need to have full coverage of my styrofoam. Just want enough so that if you do see through the flowers, you don't see the styrofoam. Okay, let's get this little bit right here in the front. And as you can see, I've made a mess. Moss always makes a big old mess. And that's probably the least favorite part of this whole thing. Of course, putting this little wreath together was a little bit of trouble, but you know what? I went through the trouble because I really thought it was a pretty good idea. And I thought you'd like to see that and just have a different idea on what to do. Something for wall decor that was different from grabbing an already made grapevine wreath. So that's probably what I'm trying to do for you in these videos. Okay, I've cleaned my table as much as I could, and now I can put some flowers into my I keep one, yeah, it's a wreath. Yeah, into my wreath. Yes, or onto my wreath. So I'm just gonna cut all these flowers off of these stems here, because I'm going to try and use the majority of them, and I just dropped some on the floor, but I'll pick those up in a minute. Okay, I moved my trash to a different spot, so I keep getting lost. Like, where's my trash? It's on this other side now. It's usually off to my left. Okay, so I'm just going to pick some flowers, and I like the height of this particular one here. This little yellow flower. Where are my scissors? Goodness gracious. I'm having one of those disorganized days. I mentioned in my last video that my son was home from boot camp, and he's still here, and today's his last day here, so I'm trying to get this done and out of the way, so forgive me. Okay, so here's my flower, and I'm going to put this height kind of almost to the top of this garden hose, okay? And this looks like I just need to trim just a little bit off the stem because I don't want the stick to go all the way through and come out the other end. So I just want to trim it, and it's about 1.5 inches. And I do put glue. You don't have to put glue. I always put glue on my stems when I'm making arrangements because I like them to stay in there. And I'm going to put this on my front door, or maybe even on my back door. So I don't want these items to fly out. So now that I've got my height, there, I need something that'll tell me how far out I want. So I've got these. Let me grab some with the same flower. Actually, I like this one for the middle. Just for the heck of it, let's grab some with the same flowers. Okay, so now I need to decide how far out I want this arrangement to go. And I do want it to come out quite a bit, so I'm going to use that. And right here it's missing a flower, so I'm going to go ahead and cut that little stem where that little flower should be inserted into, because I don't want that just showing, you know. So now I need to decide how far I want it to go in, trim it, and just stick it to the side, into the side here, just like that. And I'll do the same on the other. So I've created a, this is going to create a triangle coming straight up like that, straight across like that. But I am going to put some stuff dangling downward. So this is which I've started with. I'm not going to go any further out than these flowers on the sides, and I'm not going to go any further out than the height of this flower here in the middle. And now I can just go ahead and start filling it in with the rest of these flowers. So I'm going to go ahead and use whatever other little these little yellow flowers I have. And I like this one because it has this green bit here, and it's got this little purple flower. So I want that to kind of show off. Put that right here in the front. Let's see, I've got one more with a yellow flower. Kind of try to balance them out. Spread out your flowers. This one's also missing a flower there, so I'm going to cut this a little bit shorter. And just kind of right here on the side. There we go. And then I've got these with little pink flowers, and they're kind of tall. So I'm going to cut them short. And just fill in between. Just like so. This is kind of a little tedious part about floral arranging. Okay, that's what I've got so far. I've got a few more, so I'm going to go ahead and put these on there, and I'm going to grab my little tulips before I continue and add some of those in, because maybe I don't use the rest of this bush. Okay, so I've grabbed my tulips, and I'm just going to push the leaves on them up a little bit as far as I can get them without just pushing everything off the stem. And I'm just going to cut them at their longest point. I may not use them all, but I'm just going to go ahead and cut them now, and they'll be ready if I have any left over for another arrangement. And I like to buy my flowers in bushes because they are most cost effective that way. And I just dropped my scissors. Okay, so I'm just going to use these tulips to fill in here and there. I want some kind of protruding outward. So let's do that. Kind of outward towards the front. And then let me make one that can be kind of short. Does your cat like to get into plastic bags and just chew on them? I have a little kitty who likes to do that, and he drives me nuts. Excuse me. All right, kitty catastrophe avoided. Now I'm going to put some of these tulips along the height of these other yellow flowers, just to add some more volume and body up here. So that's what I've done, and I'm going to do another one here. And then I think I'm going to go ahead and add some of these little pink flowers. So I do have some tulips left over, and I do have flowers from the first bush that I showed you. So I'm going to go ahead and save those for another project. This one's missing a flower, so I just, oops, come on, Mr. Glue. I always got to add some more glue to my glue gun. Okay, I'm going to put this one way over here. Okay, so that's what I've done so far. Just filling in my arrangement. And because I've got a little bit of pink down here that barely shows, I'm going to add these little pink flowers and just fill in. And I'm going to cut them kind of short. Let's cut them all off the stem here. Put these up here in the front, one up here to kind of pop out. One to pop out here on the bottom to kind of balance off all that pretty colors. Some pink on this other side. There we go. Trying to get those colors to balance. And I'll save these two for another project. And then I've got these purple ones. I thought these were so pretty. These are from the Dollar Tree as well. These are called little daisies. Look at them. I love daisies. I think they're just the prettiest little flower ever. Okay, so these I'm going to cut them long again because I don't know how long or short I'm going to need them. So always cut them off at the longest point off of your little bush stem. Okay? Don't try to guess ahead of time that you just need short ones and then cut them short. So just cut them at the longest point. And this is at its longest point. I'm going to go to use this whole length to put that in front of that one long yellow one that I started off with, just to add some purple here at the top. You can see that. Okay, and I want to balance off that purple, so I'm going to put some coming off the sides a bit here, and on the other side, and I think that'll be good. I'm happy with the floral amount that I have on here. So I'm going to go ahead and start putting some greenery, because I mainly want to cover this bottom part and then some of it to kind of dangle off of the sides. So let's get that greenery. All right, I've got some on bushes and I have this fern, so I want to go ahead and use my fern. So I'm just going to cut off a few stems for now. Let's cut off a few of those. Maybe one more, kind of long one. Okay, here we go. Now on these particular ferns, these little leaves go all the way down, and I keep forgetting to pull out this little machine that I have that has little picks. Maybe in the next one. Okay, so all I'm going to do is I'm going to take my scissors and cut some of those little leaves off the sides here on the bottom to create a little stem. So then I can insert that into my arrangement, or rather into my styrofoam. And I'm going to put some on the sides because I love the way fern looks just popping off out of the sides. And I may cut some more, but for now I'm going to start with these and then add some of that ivy that I have there. Let's push that in. Come on, honey, get in there. Let's trim off some of these little hairs of moss. Okay, let's continue adding some of this beautiful, beautiful fern. Just gonna cut some off the sides. So if you want to go ahead and prep some of these ahead of time, go right ahead. And if you don't use them all, well, then you'll have some left over for another project. Okay, sorry, I just gotta clean as I go along. My floor is a mess, but I don't know, I'm not looking at it right now, so that's okay. I'll just sweep up. So as you can see, I've got these two fern bits coming off on the side, so I want more kind of upward. Those were kind of shooting down, and these are going to kind of shoot upward on the side. And behind the flowers, make sure that you tuck these particular fern greenery behind your flowers. You don't want to hide any of your beautiful florals that you've just put on your wreath. Here, as you can see, it's kind of coming off the side here. The same over here. There you go. So you can see that. Okay, I'm going to put some coming out behind of this center flower. So let me just grab one. Again, trim off the little bits as close as I can to the little stem on the bottom, like that. And then just put some glue. Now, you're probably wondering, well, if you're putting this greenery and it's going to be behind the flowers, why don't you put that first? Because I like to see my flowers placement first. I don't want to have all this stuff on there before I create the shape of my arrangement, if you will. Now, yeah, I could put maybe 3 ferns on there, you know, one on each side and one on the top to create the shape and the, you know, the length and the height that I want my arrangement to be, and I could use those as my base and then just add focal flowers afterwards. But this is just the way that I work. But if you want to do it that way, put your greenery first, you certainly can. But I wouldn't put too much greenery. Just put what you think is going to go behind all the flowers, because your greenery might just end up being in the way or just not in the right spot. So I like to put all my flowers, and my greenery is just a filler. Okay? Flowers are your focal point, and your greenery is just a filler. Okay, I'm going to add another one. I'm going to turn it around to the back so I can look at it this way. And then just stick it back here. There we go. And then bring it forward in front. There we go. So I got a nice long piece of fern up here, and it's behind this yellow flower. And I got another piece right there. So I'm filling it in. That's all I'm doing. And that's all the fern I'm going to use for now. So now I'm going to go ahead and use some of my ivy. And again, I'm not going to use too much of it. I'm just going to get a couple of long viney bits, like a long piece like that. And I'm going to drape this across the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and insert the tip into my styrofoam on the bottom here. And then I'm going to bring this across, and I'm going to use a greenery pen to kind of hold it there, and that'll hide this part of the moss, at least, you know, most of it, the styrofoam. Come on, get in there. Putting it in there. And then I'm just going to grab a greenery or a floral pin and stick it right in there to hold that vine in place, because this is going to be lots of vine there to cover that. Okay, so then I'm going to take these little stemmy bits of my greenery and put those right between the flowers, bend them downward to fill in. Where's another shorty? I don't see another little shorty one. Okay, I'll use one of these long ones. And then I'll just trim the bottom leaf and create a stem there. See that? Put it between the flowers, kind of facing downward. One more. I'm going to go ahead and leave this one a little long. And instead of putting it right in the middle on the bottom, I'm going to put it off to the side a little bit. And then just let it kind of move its way like that to fill in. So as you can see, that's all getting filled right there. So I don't need any more in there. Just going to move my flowers to make sure they're not getting hidden by the greenery. Let's get some more of these stems. And now we want to fill in right in here on the front top parts of my arrangement. Just push in your stem as far as you can, and then just bend it because it's wire. So just bend your greenery in a way so that it's not covering any flowers, and then just kind of let it fill in the spaces. Okay, one more piece of greenery on this other side. There we go, so it doesn't look so bare on this side. Okay, so that's what I've done. This little stem is missing a flower, so let me cut off that little stem. There we go. Okay, so now I'm going to put a bow on here, and I'm going to put the bow down here. So that's why I didn't put any flowers down here. I probably should have said that at the beginning. I didn't put any flowers here because I want to put a bow. And like I said, my ribbon is just a little kind of a gingham ribbon, and it doesn't have really the colors of my flowers. So you want to pick out your ribbon to coordinate with your flowers. I decided that I wanted my arrangement to look like something that I just went out into the garden. You know, very eclectic, if you will, different styles of things. I wanted it to look like very natural. I went out into the garden and I just picked some stuff and decided that that was going to go on my arrangement. So I'm not going to care of that my ribbon does not exactly match it. All I'm caring is that the ribbon is pretty and I like it, and I think it will look really cute, and it kind of goes with that whole garden theme because it's a little gingham. It's like a little picnic, you know, cloth type of design on there. So that's why I'm using that. Okay, let me get my wire and get a piece of wire already. Normally I don't prepare the edges of my ribbon, the ends or the little tails of my bow, until after I'm done doing my bow. So I don't know why I did that. I guess just to do something while I was doing all that tucking. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pick a length here that I want my bow to be, or my little tails to be. And if you want to see how I do handmade bows up close, I will link below on the description box the video for that. But all I do is just loop it, pinch and twist, and then make another loop. Make sure they're both the same size. Pinch it and twist it. Always make sure the pretty side of the ribbon is facing on the outside. Now, this ribbon seems to have the same look on both, so it doesn't really matter. And I'm making like really nice big loops. I'm not making small ones because they're going in here, and I don't want to make a little tiny bow, a little tiny bow, and then everything gets hidden. So I'm just gonna make as many loops as I can. And I didn't measure this, so I have maybe close to 3 yards. It's not quite 3 yards. If it was 3 yards, I'd be able to make at least 8 loops, but here I've got 5, okay? So I'm just gonna go ahead and just wrap a piece of wire around it. There we go. And you know what I need? I need a floral pick to put this bow on so then I can insert it in there. So let me go grab one and I will be right back. All right, so I decided that I didn't need a floral pick because I do have the floral pins. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get the wire on the ribbon here on the bow and then just wrap it around to this little top part of my U pin, my floral pin. Just wrap it around several times. This is something else you can use too. And now my bow has a little pin that I can insert into the styrofoam. There you go. So I'm just going to bring down my little tails. I'm not going to worry about my loops and making them pretty right now because all I'm going to do is stick this into the styrofoam. So I am going to add a little bit of glue to that because I don't want that to get blown out of my arrangement. And just push it in. That's all I did, just push it in. And now you can open up your loops. Open up your little tails. Nice little shorty tails. Here's one part of the garden hose. Here's the other end of the garden hose. And there we go. That's our wreath. It is completed. Let me go ahead and put it on the wall or somewhere just so that you can see it for now. And I'll be right back. Okay, so here's my wreath. I've hung it on the wall just temporarily so you can see how it looks. I just have it hanging on a tack right now, so that's okay for now. I'm gonna go hang it on my door and so you can look at it in its full glory. And there you go. Like I said, this was not my original idea. I did see this in a home store, at the at-home store here in the Rio Grande Valley. I don't know if you'll have one where you are from, but if you have a home store where they have a decor, perhaps you've seen this. I don't know, maybe something equivalent. But anyway, I decided that I wanted to recreate it because the one that I saw was close to $50. And here, if I was to guesstimate, including the $6 that I spent on my hose, if I was to guesstimate, I probably spent about 25 bucks, maybe less, because I actually didn't use complete bushes of greenery or floral. I used parts of it, and as you know, I used some of these flowers in other arrangements, and you saw that I had some left over that I can use in another project. Let me show you the little pieces here. I have some left over, so they'll get used in another project. So I'm going to guesstimate I spent about $25, including the ribbon and, you know, glue, time, and, you know, any kind of irritations that I had while I was doing this. So that's going to be my guesstimate. If you were going to sell something like this, of course, you would probably sell it for about $50, $60, something like that. For those of you who are curious, it depends on how you decide to price it. But that's about it. Here you can see something hanging on my wall. I used to have some shelves, if you remember. I'm doing some redecorating, fixed up my son's room, and decided that I wanted to take the shelves that I had here and put them in his room, because every time I was doing a video and I backed up, boom, I hit my head. So I plan on doing something pretty on the back of the wall. If you have any suggestions, go ahead and put them in the comments down below. I'm kind of thinking of drawing my little branch and my little owl, my little logo back there. Let me know what you think of that idea. But this is about this particular floral wall decor. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you got a great idea on how to use a garden hose or repurpose a garden hose that maybe you already have in your home. If you want to cut it up, you know, maybe it's got some ugly ends to it. It's been nasty, chewed up, maybe, I don't know. If you want to use an old one, just like I said, clean it up really good. Maybe trim it off a little bit. It doesn't have to have these, you know, these little ends on it. I really wanted mine to kind of come down, but I'm having a little trouble maneuvering them. But if you can do it and if you know how, let me know, because I would really like that tip if you have that. Again, I hope you liked it. I'm going to give myself a big old thumbs up, and I hope you will too. And I hope that you leave a nice comment down below. Subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. And thank you to all of you who have been subscribing. Thank you so very much. I'm really happy. And thank you for having looked around YouTube and found me. And I'm really grateful to all of you for having done so. And again, make sure you share on your social medias. And as always, enjoy.